Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is Straight Outta Boston, and today I'm back for episode number 6 of my Road to the Show series here on MLB 17 The Show with Jason Schaffer, the shortstop for the Oakland A's. So we'll get this out of the way right away. Another stance change in this episode, one that I'm sticking with for the rest of this episode and at least the first part of the next episode, because that's as far as I've recorded. But this is Evan Gattis' stance, similar to the last one I was using in the sense that it does have that sort of short three-quarters, like kind of two-handed follow-through, even though it's labeled as one-handed style 4. And you saw there he did have a one-handed follow-through on the no-doubter home run, but when it's not a no-doubter, he does use that kind of short, choppy, two-handed follow-through, which is a little bit, as I said in the last episode, unique in this game. So I kind of like to use these stances. You saw it right there as that ball ripped the other way to right. That is going to be caught by the right fielder. No tag from the base runner, so unfortunately kind of a poor job of situational hitting there by Schaffer. 6-4 now is the score in the 6th. That ball hit well the other way to deep right field. Not going to get out of the yard, and it's actually tracked down by Markakis in foul territory for the third and final out. So a few missed RBI opportunities that game, but we did get the win. Now we're back with the day game after the night game, facing Julio Teheran and the Atlanta Braves. That ball hit well to left center. That's going to get off the wall. Well played by Inciarte, the center fielder. But Schaffer is still cruising into second base with the double. Another extra base hit for Schaffer, and that's kind of been the name of the game. That's how I've sort of developed him and his attributes, but since being called up to the major league level, you see there is going to be another blast, as this one just staying fair. Kind of hooked that inside pitch from, I think that was Lucas Sims right there. But, you know, it's kind of been the name of the game in the minor leagues. We're hitting for power, but also maintaining a pretty high average and, you know, probably playing at a level a little bit too low for us in Double-A. I thought we should have at least started out at Triple-A, just based on my ratings and kind of pedigree coming out of the draft last year as a four-year college player, but... And, you know, one who was, you know, had pretty good ratings coming out of the draft, as I said. But anyway, did nothing in that game against the White Sox. So moving on to the second game of this series. But it's really been kind of all or nothing a lot of time for Schaffer. When he does swing and put the ball in play, it often goes for extra bases, or it ends up out of the yard, as that one did right there, going the other way. It was kind of to center field, but tailing the other way, and that one came on the two-handed follow-through. So another home run for Schaffer, third of the episode already. And, you know, at the major league level, that's what it's been for him. It's been a lot of home runs, some doubles here and there, not a ton of singles. And so far, slashing kind of around like 250, 300, and 500. Kind of a weird slash line so far. I think at the end of last episode, it wasn't for quite as much power, but this episode, you see the power start to really come through. I think after last episode, I was only like 290, 330, 430. But this episode, like I said, you see the power start to really come out for Schaffer. There's going to be another extra base hit, that one going into the gap in a right center field. And I knew when we saw the White Sox on the schedule, I wanted to take advantage because this is one of the worst teams in the league. They're something like 24-57 coming into this series. And, you know, in terms of it from a team perspective, here's a two-run home run from Matt Chapman that I'm going to score on. And, you know, we're not completely out of the, well, we are pretty much out of the wild card race, but our division is pretty bad this year, so we do kind of have a chance to get ourselves back in it if we could pull together some wins. And we won that game 5-4, but, you know, we are sort of struggling against this Chicago team, and you just look around at the roster, I don't really think we have what it's going to take to put it together, even if I came up and, you know, really tried to provide a spark with this offense. You see there's an 0-for-4 performance. We shift to a series in Seattle, a team that we're 6 games behind in the standings. They are, I think, at the top of the division, actually, at 45 and 41 entering this game. As I, again, on top of that pitch, tried to bust it into left field, but I kind of got on top of it. And something I didn't notice was ever in this game before, but when Felix Hernandez pitches, they do have the King's Court out there in the foul territory bleachers, or I don't know what you call those, the grandstand seats out there at Safeco for the King's Court, which is pretty cool. They all wearing the yellow t-shirts during Felix's starts. Here's game 2 of that series. We're down 2-0 in the 8th, as here's another blast from Schaffer. That is going to make it a 2-1 ball game on the solo shot. That was a moon shot. I think that was the longest home run of my career so far, something like 430 some odd feet. Bob Melvin, the manager, pretty impressed right there. What he's been seeing out of his young shortstop. 7th home run of the season, 468 feet actually. And you see the show track on this one. It was absolutely blasted, 110 miles an hour off the bat. You see the launch angle there and the total distance at 468 feet. You might have noticed a different home run celebration. I switched to Andrew McCutcheon's. I went away from some of the more ridiculous generic ones they have in this game. McCutcheon's is actually pretty cool. He sort of sidesteps and like tips his cap to home plate almost in a sense. So Anyway, I got pinch ran right there in that game for by Jorge Mateo. You can see that I'm actually still hitting 278 right now, so the average hasn't quite fallen off yet, but really you'll see it in the rest of this episode, especially towards the end of this episode. I start to strike out a little bit more often, and the average does come down as a result of that. Here's a blast to center field. This one hits the deepest part of the ballpark, and it's caught right up against the wall by the center fielder. That is going to be nothing but a flyout for Schaffer, just missing out on a 4-bagger right there. And we would end off that game 0 for 4, or 0 for 5 actually with 3Ks. So you're already starting to see the strikeouts hike up just a little bit. 6 games under 500, chasing the Astros now, who have pulled ahead in the division. And you see we've been making some interesting trades on this team. Hellickson and Mitch Haniger both in. We traded guys like Marcus Semien for Mitch Haniger. There you see. And to the Orioles, I did not like this deal. We traded Chris Davis to the Orioles for Hellickson. I did not like that deal. Was not pleased when I saw that that was a trade that was made. But little did I know that I was going to be the next one in line to be shipped out of town. I have been dealt to the St. Louis Cardinals. Are you serious? I could not believe it. That was my initial reaction. And I talked previously about how I didn't really want to get drafted by the Oakland A's because they aren't really a competitive ball club right now. People were telling me, like, oh, they have one of the best farm systems in the league. Like, honestly, that doesn't really translate in this game that much. It's really just about, I mean, so they have some good prospects, but those guys are years away from really impacting in this game. And I'm trying to be on a contending team right now. So, traded to the Cardinals, a team that I did play for last year with Jim Lowry, which has a little bit, I don't really want to go back to the same team and play for the same team again, but put in a much more competitive situation. That's the big difference. The Cardinals are in the wild card hunt. They're chasing the division-leading Cubs by a comfortable margin. I think it's almost like double digits because the Cubs are 60-30 or something like that. But the Cardinals are in position to contend for that one of those wild card spots the rest of the year. You see, I'm meeting my new manager, Mike Matheny, and I'm taking a look at the standings here in a moment. You see they're 47-41, 10 games back of the Cubs. But the roster, not too bad. I noticed, I was trying to find who I got traded for. It was Jack Flaherty, one of the top pitching prospects for the Cardinals. So pretty nice haul for Billy Beane and the A's. They're certainly, really cashing out on all their chips all their major league chips that they hold right now, and just trying to deal for young guys. Even Haniger's a rookie. I mean, I was kind of surprised that I got traded, but this game has always been weird with the trades. And in this Road to the Show series, the trades have gone wonky on a lot of teams. It's not just the A's that have been making weird trades. For guys like Mitch Haniger and Jeremy Hellickson, a lot of teams have been making weird trades in this Road to the Show series, I noticed. So my first game with the Cardinals, not a great one. This is my third strikeout of the evening already in my debut against the Pittsburgh Pirates here. Got one more chance in the 8th. We are up 5-2. I'm facing Juan Nicasio, one of the relievers for Pittsburgh, and he strikes me out. So 4 Ks, the Golden Sombrero. Not a great way to endear yourself to the St. Louis fan base. Pretty bad first impression from Schaffer. Hitting coach, a little bit concerned after what he saw from Schaffer in his debut, so talk to me after the game. Try to get my mind right. Next game, got an 0 for working again, but I got a bases loaded chance here, and I'm ripping one to deep left center field. That ball is back, and it is gone, a grand slam. So how about that? Schaffer had not had a hit yet with the Cardinals, but there you go. His first one is a big one off of Ivan Nova, and that gives us the lead here in the 8th inning. 4-2 is the score now. A go-ahead grand slam for Jason Schaffer and the Cardinals. So, hasn't had a lot of hits yet in a St. Louis uniform, but he had a pretty big one right there. 8th home run of the season, first in the National League. And here we go, rubber match of the series. 3-3 is the score in the 7th. Facing Wade LeBlanc. That ball taken the other way to right field. That is over the right fielder's head, off the wall. Schaffer digging around second. He's going to think better of it, though, and hold up there, as that ball gotten in quickly by the center fielder backing up the right fielder. Now we do represent the go-ahead run. This is a ground ball into the hole at short, played by Harrison. I get the stop sign, but I'm going right through it. The throw home is offline, and Schaffer scores. The go-ahead run is in for the Cardinals. The aggressive base running from Schaffer forced the throwing error from the first baseman, and the Cardinals have the lead. Later in the game, 5-3, make it 6-3. Oppo Taco's second blast in as many days for Schaffer. This one might have been one of my first true opposite field blasts in the major leagues. I've been going Oppo a lot in the minors when I was in AA, but have been pulling the ball mainly at the major league level. That time, I took that pitch the other way off of the reliever from Pittsburgh. So there you go, 9th homer of the season, 360 feet. One more look at it. Pretty cool seeing the Oppo Taco right there. 2 hits in the game, on base 3 times, and I scored a pair of runs. So did my part that game, 49-42, entering this series with the New York Mets. But I kind of continued my struggles with the strikeouts. Threw up an 0-4 in that first game. Second game, going to be another 0-4, striking out against Jairus Familia. So things starting to go a little bit downhill here as we travel to New York. Another 0-4. Now the next night, I'm now 0 for my last 11. Make it 0 for my last 12. Another strikeout. This time it is Familia once again. So my third straight night going 0-4. And then the next night, the manager decides to give me the day off. I came in a pinch running role and did score a run. But an unimpressive week in New York for Schaffer. That's what brought my numbers down a little bit towards the end of this episode. But that is going to do it. So I hope you guys did enjoy. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of the trade. And as always, I'm out. Peace.